All right, so we have it wrapped up in front of you. I don't know if you've ever watched me on Facebook or Instagram or anywhere else, but we do this hard and fast. We're gonna use two matte gas blow torches, basically plumber's torches. Matte Pro burns at 3,400 degrees in air, and it's going to give us a wide enough, it's a very clean fuel, and it's going to give us a wide enough spread using these torches that we're going to just create a vacuum. And what I mean by that is we're going to block air coming in from just about every side. We're going to encompass the piece in heat. We are going to constantly make every single aspect of it, every part of it, as much as I can, covered in flame the entire time. I'm going to block little exits and entrances. You don't need much. It doesn't need to be totally complex. It's just got to be something that, think about the thermodynamics. I'll pump in heat from the left. I'll pump in heat from the right. It'll cover it. That will create a little backdraft, and the vacuum will be created. We'll have air sucking around the piece at all times, but because of the flame and the thermodynamics of what's going on in front of us, we're not going to be able to get really any oxygen near it. No oxygen means no oxidation. Pay attention to the straps. We're going to use those as an indication of heat. They're going to heat up a lot quicker than the silver because they're not attached to the main body of the piece, and obviously they're a lot smaller. So they're going to glow. We're going to be able to tell what's happening dependent upon those glow. Upon that glow. Now, we're not using any flux because then the binding wire can actually get fused into the material. We're going to hit this with heat until the sterling silver melts. Sterling silver melts at about 1,650 degrees. White gold melts at 1,710 degrees. That's not that big of a gap with blow torches. However, the sterling silver heats up and conducts significantly faster than the gold. All right, once again, what we're going to be looking for is even heating of the material and a flash. You want a flash of the metal. That flash indicates that the sterling silver is starting to run, it's starting to flow. Once it starts to flow, we're going to move it like solder, using the heat to guide it into every crevice. When I see that it is run through every single line, the piece is fused, I remove heat, we're done. This takes about a minute. Done this 100 times. I've never failed. However, it's a lot of money in front of me right there. One mistake is expensive, so we can't have any mistakes. Here we go. Now, the torch in my left hand, which is doing most of the moving, that's really the bulk of it. It's doing all the heavy lifting. One of these torches, either one, is more than hot enough. Two makes it a little faster, but we're talking seconds. We're actually approaching. We're almost there. Look for the flash. All right, it's starting on one side. We've got partial fusion. Left side, let's move it to the middle. Now, move it into all the gaps. Woohoo! Now, as you can see, it shrunk down. That indicates that the silver has actually run out. We have a fusion. I'll be back. All right, so after you're done carefully removing the wire, I recommend placing it in a vise and cleaning up the sides. Use a file, use abrasive papers. If you're using gold like I am, be careful. I'm probably more careful with your shavings than I. Well, we've got a shop back here, so I'll scoop all that up. However, I'm just doing this for show. I've already done it. So as you can see, there we go. Nice homogeneous billet. It's a little scratched up from what I just did. Hold on. All right. That is a single solid homogeneous piece. Now that concludes the fusion aspect. From here, we start forging. I will cover that in my next video. But that is a sterling silver, white gold, 14 karat MOKUME GANE billet. This is a half ounce right here. Actually a little over 1.10 ounces. 1.1 ounce, yeah. 1.1 ounce Troy. It's going to make about 3 rings. Really, we've got a really nice design coming up. I'll get into that in a minute. Now you see those little gaps? I didn't even notice those. They're tiny. They're nothing. Get rid of them. File them out. Sand them out. Make this thing entirely smooth, homogeneous, and beautiful. As close to that. Oh, that's got a couple of them too. Get rid of the gaps and then hammer and forge out. That ends this this segment. We're going to start the next video now. See you then. All right. Forging. Okay, this next part may seem ridiculous because I'm using a giant hammer on this tiny little billet, but I want to get as much of it in one. We're going to switch to a smaller hammer, and I'm going to try to keep this simple so you can see what I'm doing. But I'm not here to explain forging. I'm here to explain how I forge this. I'm trying to really get more compression because obviously by hand right now I'm not going for shape. I'm tightening it. To be honest, most of the shaping, I mean, this is blacksmithing procedure, I guess. I'm not a blacksmith. I know I'm doing a ton of things wrong here. I don't care. This is how I get this done. This is not steel. It's a lot softer than steel. But white gold is still pretty resilient in the sense that, now I showed you when I started, I showed you the side that had the big divot, the big dent. I showed you that on purpose because I want you to see what's going on. We're drawing it out to some degree. But once again, we're not really trying to draw it out. I'm simply trying to compress. It's going to get a little wider, as a matter of fact. We'll take care of that later. All right, now we're going to anneal. Alright, no splits, no delaminations. This thing is out of the woods, I would say, at this point. If you can get past the first hammering, front and side, and notice no damage, just keep it soft. From this point on, it really can't fail. At this point, it's going to become jewelry in a little while, so if you experience, at this point, I don't expect any issues at all. However, I've been doing this a while. If at this point you are experiencing issues and you run it through the mill, or you start hammering it and it starts to, you can always softly tap it back into place and apply some solder at this point. Try to keep your soldering to a minimum, but I mean, when you make jewelry out of it, if you make a band ring, you're going to have to eventually solder it. You can add some solder at this point. It's formed, it's fused, it's ready to go. All right, so we're gonna start annealing and compressing. And we're going to start turning this into jewelry really quickly. Okay? Next segment coming up soon.